Good afternoon. Today we're going to talk about social networking. So we'll talk a little bit about the Web 2.0 tools that we have, and we'll talk about the social networking assignment, and then I'm going to add some about the final project. So originally, when the World Wide Web, WWW, originated, it was basically Web 1.0. So it was information at your fingertips, and you could go to websites and get information, but it was unidirectional. You could view it, or you could upload an FTP, but you could not interact with the website. Web 2.0 is bidirectional, so that's what lets you put in your information and make choices and refine where you're going. So it can also be shared, and it can be role-based, so that some people have access to more information than others. You would see that when you have to sign into a website and the members get a certain level higher than just a viewer. Web 3.0 is still evolving, but it's coming. The virtual web, when you think about artificial intelligence with all of the smart technologies, recommender systems like Amazon that make suggestions for what you might want to buy, and the remote controls that you have on your audio, these are all smart technologies, part of the Web 3.0, and who knows what will be coming. So some of the Web 2.0 tools that you might think about are blogs, or your shared collaborative sites like Google Drive, Microsoft 365, different kinds of storage, instant messaging. So these, again, shared, interactive, role-based blogs, as you know, are similar to a discussion board like we had on Blackboard or like we have on Canvas. And the facilitator sets up a prompt, and then people post the response. Sometimes you can set this so that it requires moderator approval, and the participant level can be configured. Then you have cloud-based storage. This would be like Dropbox or your Google Drive or your OneDrive or any of these other tools that are available now, where you can share your storage and not have to have it all on your hard drive. So I'm sure that most of you know about Dropbox. I'm not going to go into detail about these that you probably already know about. Microsoft 365. And then we're going to talk a little bit about social networking. So I included this graphic because this is from Creative Commons. And I wonder how many of you have used Creative Commons, but it's a website where you find images that are now in the public domain. So you can look at different types. There are a lot of contributors, and you can sort by the type that you want or by keywords like you would normally use to sort for an image. And it comes with the caption for the source. Again, I'm sure that most of you are familiar with Facebook and Twitter. I'm going to go through a couple that you might not know as much about. One of those would be TeacherTube. And TeacherTube is very similar to YouTube, but without the ads, and the videos have been screened. So you have to have a school email account in order to set up your TeacherTube account, and it usually takes a day or so for the approval. Then you can go ahead and set up a private channel just as you would on YouTube. People can rate or comment on the videos, but if you set up a private channel, that's a good way to share specific videos with your students and not have them straying off into videos that you wouldn't want them to use. I'm sure you know Instagram, Flickr, and Pinterest is one that I just love Pinterest. I started off using it for recipes and crafts and patterns and things like that, but I have found so many ways to use it with teachers that you can set up sites with for students. We'll go through some examples towards the end of this. You can use it for collaboration with your fellow teachers. You can use it to find sites and tools that your parents can use. And then Wakelet is relatively new. I mentioned it once. It's for content sharing, and you can curate what you want to share. So if you set up a site for a classroom, then you might want to share information about something specific, like an event or social studies or economics, and then use that as giving your students the basic information that they need to go forward and find more information and maybe do a project. So for your social networking assignments, a little bit different from the tools assignments, you're going to decide on what your goals would be for communicating using a social network, and that will depend on your audience. Maybe you want to share something with parents, or maybe you want to share something with your students or with your fellow teachers. So you're going to choose one of these tools, create an account, and make some posts to make this useful. And then a summary narrative of your communication plan with a link so that I can go ahead and get it. So I put some examples here. I'm not going to show them all, but I'm going to go to a couple of them so that you can see what this might look like. So for algebra, for example, this teacher has set up a lot of links for her students so that they can look at information, say the quadratic formula. So these would be high school students working on factoring. And so she has a lot of tools here that they can go and look at if they want to use them as a study guide or a review, or maybe she wants to assign some of this as homework. Then we'll go to this Wakelet site. So this teacher teaches about geopolitical situations. So she set up this Wakelet site about the South China Sea dispute, which is about who owns certain parts of the South China Sea and the land that's on it. So she's using all of this information as background, and then she's going to assign the students a project using this. And we could look at one more on YouTube, for example. This teacher is a music teacher, and she's created videos for her students about music theory, see chord progression, and then music history, medieval music. So she will share these with the class and not have to repeat it, but they can go back and use it as a study guide. So again, I'm providing the slides, so feel free to look at any one of them. I had examples besides Pinterest, but most of them have been made private, like Facebook sites that people had set up or things like that, where they invited me to join the group, and then when they used it for their own classes, they had to take me off of it. Or some Class Dojo, which requires a parent account to get in. So one of my mottos is, I love technology, but just because you can doesn't mean that you have to. It's an option. So don't feel that you need to have technology driving all of your lessons just because you're taking this class. But You can contact me again, as always, at lkeating@framingham.edu through Canvas or from your email. Thanks for listening.